Hello, and welcome to the power of branded content. Today we're going to be focusing on research, and I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Jonathan Hardy, who's Professor of Communications and Media at University of the Arts, London. Before we get into the discussion, I'd just like to ask Jonathan to introduce himself, tell us a bit about his role, and then something we don't know about him. Over to you, Jonathan.
Thanks very much, Andrew. So as you say, yes, I'm Jonathan Hardy. I'm Professor of Communications and Media at the University of the Arts, London. A role I've been in now for about 6 months, but I've been an academic for many, many years, and particularly someone interested in the intersection of the media industries and the marketing industries. And that's really brought me as a researcher to branded content. You asked for an icebreaker.
Yes, please.
I'll give you one, Andrew. It's coming up. It's nearly December 2020. So one thing you might not know, I'm a guitarist and I'm learning jazz versions of songs, only the good ones, like Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, so that I can do a party piece, potentially for a very small party.
Okay, well, maybe we can do that later if we've got time. That's fantastic. Thank you for that. So today I wanted to talk about the exciting developments about the Branded Content Research Hub. Perhaps you want to tell us a little bit about that and explain what it is.
Sure. So the Branded Content Research Hub is going to be a resource for research and exchange dealing with all aspects of branded content, content that is funded or produced by marketers. It's based in the Media School at the London College of Communication, where I'm based, and that's part of the University of the Arts London, whose other colleges perhaps people may be more familiar with, Central St Martin's, the art school, other art schools, London College of Fashion, and so on. So the hub involves myself and other staff from the University of the Arts London, as well as academics from the UK, from across Europe, North America, in fact, all continents except Antarctica. It builds on an earlier project I led called the Branded Content Research Network that was funded by the UK Arts and Humanities Research Council. And through that, we built up links with leading researchers in the field of branded content across Europe and worldwide, and brought together industries, the media and marketing industries, regulators and others for discussions and events. So the central aim of the hub is to carry out research, to share knowledge, and to promote dialogue across academics, industry practitioners, and civil society. And I'm really delighted that the Branded Content Marketing Association is supporting this work. The BCMA has been really a lead supporter, and I particularly like to thank Andrew, Global CEO, Andrew Cantor, because your support and championing this project has really been vital to get to the point we have. So I'm very grateful for that. And I'm really looking forward to a launch in December and then the real work beginning in January 2021 for our new hub.
Thank you, Jonathan. And thank you for your kind words. I mean, for us at the BCMA, we see the building the bridge between academia and industry as being crucial. Ongoing, and obviously training and education is a really big part of what we do, and I want to thank you for your support in that. So I just be quite interesting to know how can we see that our members, what should they do to get the best out of the hub?
Okay, well, how we see this working, we're going to have an advisory board made up of academics, external partners such as the BCMA to guide our work. And key activities are to investigate what's happening in the industry, to survey a state of the profession, and I'll perhaps come back to that as a big project we want to do in the first year. We want to review branded content and regulation, which is something I'm working on in my own research and for research grants to help our work. We want to identify and support research needs across industry and academia. And we want to map what's happening across education and training, look at the adequacy of provision, and look at what new needs can be met. I'd say, to answer your question for your members, by early spring, we're hoping to have a fully functional web resource. And at that point, we want to develop a key role for the hub, which is as a clearinghouse to connect industry and academics for research and other projects. So I hope, with a very strong team of academics at the University of the Arts London, expertise in branded content, influencer marketing, right across the creative industries, media advertising, PR and journalism, we can take on and develop projects ourselves, but we'll also be a clearinghouse for that international network of academics. So what I really hope as a vision for the hub is that we'll generate work and build up our own links, but we'll also be a listening post for what the marketing industry wants at any time, and it'd be so valuable to have those insights and to matchmake and bring together researchers across the world who can help. So I really hope this will be quite a meaningful and useful resource for industry, and of course we'll gain tremendously from that involvement.
Absolutely, and this is really pioneering work, and it is about being a pathfinder and being a leader in that space. And I think that really plays in well to what we're doing at the BCMA. You talked about a piece of work which is looking at the state of the industry. I mean, is that going to be your focus sort of from the outset? I mean, is that the first piece you're going to focus on? Or what are your specific aims from an academic perspective?
Okay, well, I think for the hub, yes, a plan of work for our first year is that by the first 6 months, we've developed in partnership with BCMA and others across the industry, and we're in communication with the Content Marketing Association and other professional associations, a really well-designed survey so that we can examine what's happening in the profession. And I'd add to that, I mean, of particular interest to myself and other researchers at University of the Arts London, and I'm sure to your members too, are these issues of racial equality and diversity and inclusion in the branded content space. So as well as doing a survey of the profession, we want to look in more detail at what's going on, what could be done to strengthen and foster diversity and inclusion. So one project linked to the hub I'll mention, we're planning a series of seminars in spring to bring together Black creatives involved in networking to understand them better as researchers, to listen to what they've been doing and what their agendas are, and in particular to learn what universities, including of course my own, could do better to support those agendas and support greater diversity in the sector. So I'm really excited. I think the state of the professional research is clearly really needed by the industry. It would be nice to get to the same position as the Chartered Institute for Public Relations and others, building up a really valuable resource and a snapshot of what's happening. But I hope we can also go deeper into some of the kind of themes and topics that drive your members and academics too.
Wow, sounds like you've got a lot on your plate there, Jonathan. Aside from your guitar lessons as well.
Well, I haven't started, Andrew. Just to mention briefly, I mean, the other one, which is a research project. So I'm really excited. We're putting together a research project to look at the governance of branded content across Europe. And that's a rather academic term. Some of your members might not be so familiar with it, but for me, it's a very exciting and versatile term, because governance says it's not just about laws and regulations. It's about how rules are made and decided by practitioners, how things are discussed about what's okay and what's not okay. So I think it's a really exciting project. We want to map what's happening in Europe, and we want to really generate insights, because this whole field of communications is a fast-moving, highly adaptive, constantly changing environment. So learning what works in good governance of branded content, I think is really important for us with an interest in it, but it's also really important for thinking about the wider area of communications. Absolutely, so I've got my fingers crossed that we'll get funding to undertake that really exciting work.
That's great. I mean, like with everything, what are your views on the sort of the time frames and the time scales? When do you think, if we start in January, when will we start thinking about seeing results of of this type of work?
I'd like, as a target, for us to have a report. It may not be the final report, but a report on a survey completed within the first year. I'd really like to get that clearinghouse operational by the spring. I'd really like to build up our partnerships and have a fully functioning website. So next year is obviously really critical. And I'd said it's very important for us to try to demonstrate that work, and I'm hoping we can get interest and get some research commissioned, because I think that'll be the springboard for really convincing my university that they should support us and we can grow even bigger. Excellent.
Well, I mean, I think that's really a great summary of what is happening. It's really, really exciting. We know it's taken a while to get there, but I think that's good. I think do things properly, not quickly, make them relevant. And I know that everyone will be really behind us in getting this and making this a success. So thank you once again for everything you're doing, pushing it, up the agenda at your end. And I'm really excited about this new, exciting launch.
Thank you very much, Andrew.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching this episode of The Power of Branded Content focused on research. I want to thank Professor Jonathan Hardy for joining us and sharing the exciting news about the Branded Content Research Hub. I'm Andrew Cantor, the Global CEO of the BCMA. And if you want more information about the organisation, please visit www.thebcma.info. Thank you for watching.